Thank you very much, Pastor Pullau. And thank you, citizens of Skeldon, for coming out tonight to listen to the message that the Alliance for Change has for you. Brothers and sisters, there are a lot of grievances in this land, from Charity to Lethem to Crowwood Creek to Georgetown to Linden. Those grievances range the whole gamut. They range from suicide rates going up. They range from joblessness. They range from domestic violence, a crime situation that is unparalleled in the Caribbean. They range from oppressive circumstances through so many of the institutions of this country. Our court system, our institutions, even when you want a birth certificate, you can't get it unless you pay some bribe to some officer. All of that happens in this country that has created in the minds of our young people, and not only young people but old people too, that our future and our destiny must not reside here, but it must reside overseas. And to that extent, we Guyanese dream of leaving these shores in thousands and hundreds of thousands. You know that more than I do. Guyanese cane farmers and cane cutters from Skeldon would want to go to St. Kitts. They would want to go to Barbados. They would want to go to Bermuda and Bahamas and all these other countries. Why is it that we have to do that when with 83,000 square miles, when we can fit almost 4 times together all the Caribbean countries into this one country? We have to go seeking a destiny that is outward. Brothers and sisters, those grievances are largely as a result of political leadership that is corrupt. Since the death of Dr. Jagan, that People's Progressive Party that spouted so much a working class orientation is no longer a working class party. It is a party made up of a certain set of cabal that wants it all for themselves. And that is why we're going to have Pratoville number 1. We're going to have Pratoville number 2. And you rest assured, if you don't get them out in 2011, you're going to get Pratoville 3 and 4 and 5. Brothers and sisters, what it is that is the source of all this unhappiness and the peace that we can't experience, it is because of that which I just mentioned. An uncaring government today is what the PPP is. Totally uncaring. And then when it spends some money to give you a street in some back of the village or to do a road, it goes on to say that it's the PPP government giving you that. I want to let it understand tonight, that all those monies are yours. It's taxpayers' monies. But they do not only do that, they take a large chunk for their personal selves. And as I have gone around this country, although they like to preach and prattle about what they're doing, they don't tell the people what they have been doing otherwise. And I am here to tell you about that. They will come and say that we built your bridge, we have resurfaced the roadway. But I want to tell you what even Jack Dale has been doing recently. Brothers and sisters, how many of you are aware of his package that when he leaves presidency in 2011, whether it be October or December this year, what he will be getting? And I want to let you in on this. It is called the Special President's Privilege Package. When he leaves for the rest of his life, do you know what he will get? He will get approximately $3 million per month as his package. He will be entitled to $1 million a month for the rest of his life. How many of you know that? He passed a bill and he got all his members of parliament to vote yes for it. He will not pay any light bill for the rest of his life. He will not pay any water bill for the rest of his life. And he's a young man, by the way. He has to have every year 2 first-class trips to England, and if he does not go, he will have to be paid the passage money that comes up, I think, over 12 or 1,500 pounds. He has to have 2 cooks and bottle washers. He also will be entitled to 2 clerks. It is in the President's Pension Act that was passed. It was only passed, by the way, after Janet Jagan died. Because Janet Jagan was telling him prior to her death, do not pass that kind of a thing. But he passed it. Brothers and sisters, I bring to you also their corruption record from an institution that is called Transparency International. It is an international body made up of experts that test what is happening in various countries all across the world. And in Guyana, they came and did a study, speaking to 164 businessmen and over 23 other professionals, economists, lawyers, and all. And what did they find? They found that for every contract to build a road, to build a school, to build any infrastructural work, 20% goes back to some senior officer as bribes. I am saying to you, brothers and sisters, your condition of not having better teachers because their salaries are small is as a result of what they do corruptly. You have to understand that there is a direct connection as to what you suffer from today as against what they benefit from. And that is why, whilst in the People's Progressive Party, I was telling people like Donald Ramjattan that this corruption is wrong, and what they used to say, why you don't shut your mouth is we time. And that is the truth. That was my problem with them inside there. And what they used to say, it's our time. Transparency International and the World Bank have done studies that reveal that we are probably the most corrupt country after Haiti in the Americas and the Caribbean. No other country. And we were about to pass Haiti, quite frankly. We were about to pass Haiti. But of course some pressures came from the World Bank and the IDB and the international institutions, and we're probably doing a little better. Of course, Haiti, because of that earthquake, things happen badly there too. Brothers and sisters, the Alliance for Change wants a better deal for you all. And that better deal can only come when the taxpayers' monies can be spent far more beneficially to you, the workers of Skeldon, the young people. Create jobs, create a better education. That is what we are talking about in the Alliance for Change. That's the change we want to see. But no, this People's Progressive Party wants a dominance in the airwaves. It's the only country in the entire Caribbean that has one radio station, and even when we were listening to cricket today, you can't hear the radio station clearly in Skeldon. Trinidad has 22. Little Antigua has 16. And you know why? The government do not want to allow a blossoming of other voices through various other radio stations. That is why it is having the one. It's because they want to dominate. Only the nonsense they spout, they want you to hear. And so they are going to get all their information fed into you. And let's say the Alliance for Change, even the PNC, they can't get their voices heard. That is what is happening here. They dominate the MCN. They dominate the channels. They dominate the airwaves. They dominate the television stations. But recently, again, to show their malevolence when it comes to dealing with the state resources, we see their presidential candidate, a man they say, whose sugar is going to be sweet for, Khemrj Ramjattan. They made him a special political advisor to Jack Gill. Tell me, how on earth you got 3 or 4 months more to call an elections and you are going to make him a special political advisor? Why? You know why? Because he is going to now utilize state resources to do his campaign, because once you now become an advisor, you can use free car, aeroplane, and all the other resources. You can go with President Jack Gill all across the land, and even overseas, to carry out your campaign, because you're an advisor to the president. It is a shameless piece of thing, a government that spouts a working class tradition, that is saying that it wants to be lean and mean and clean, that will now go on to do that kind of a thing. And do it with the beneficiary being its presidential candidate. They want to give you the impression that we're not going to pay him a salary, but at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, the amount of money that Donald is going to use from taxpayers for this campaign will total millions and millions of dollars. And when you take the money away like that, brothers and sisters, what can be left for the ordinary people? That is why our education system is faltering. That is why our policemen are not being professionals, because the salary scales are so low. And when they have to go do, let's say, the investigations, they have absolutely no confidence and sometimes not the inspiration because of the working conditions. And it affects who? It affects us all. It affects we who are supposed to benefit from better institutions like the police and schools and universities and all of that. We want to bring an end to that, brothers and sisters, and that end can only come when you make it your duty to start voting reason and not race. In Guyana, for a number of reasons, all because of our history, we have been allowing ourselves to be perverted by a pattern of voting that is racial rather than rational. The Alliance for Change came on the scene, arguing the case that unless we do away with that kind of voting pattern and transcend ethnic gravitations, we are not going to go any place. We are not going to enjoy that fuller peace and grander happiness that we all strive for. We will never, if we continue to perpetuate that kind of voting pattern. We have to bring it to a halt. And we must bring it to a halt as early as possible. If we only carry on, the worries will come and the grievances will come, and then we will cuss and then dream only of leaving this land. That is what's going to happen. We We will have young people like Sean who just spoke, not finding a job although he has 10 subjects CFC. We will have others coming back as graduates out of the University of Guyana and not finding jobs because the money is misspent. As I indicated, 20% goes back as bribes, and then they make bills in our parliament and acts of parliament to benefit themselves. Donald liked that presidential package because he said even if he served 1 day as president, he'd be entitled to $1 million every month thereafter. And this is not a lie, brothers and sisters. It is the brutal truth. This is what they have done to us. Moreover, we have it from all varieties of sources that they literally are doing the mischief in front of the eyes of people in villages when they literally take monies away and misspend it. We have found that out in Essequibo. We have found that out in Bartica. We have found that out even recently, as Sheila mentioned, with the pension scheme. They proudly boast that there are 44,000 pensioners. We did the study, as Sheila mentioned. They ain't got 44,000 people who are pensioners. Our calculation is that it is less than 30,000. So what's 14,000 set of people getting $7,700 more every month? It is going in their pockets. We in Parliament indicated that what we are doing when we carried out that investigation was to double the pensioners' money that exists. Because if you can save all of that money that is being diverted into somebody's pocket, you'll have more money to give the old age pensioner. But what do they say on NCN? They say Ramjattan don't want to pay the pensioners the $7,700. No, Ramjattan and Sheila Holder want to give them $14,000 if we can cut the corruption. That is what we want to do. Brothers and sisters, the Alliance for Change also feel that the priorities of this government are wholly wrong. Let me tell you something about what they're doing with that deal they have from Venezuela. Indeed, a lot of farmers have indicated to me that it's a good thing. And indeed, it's a good thing for them to find markets for our paddy and rice. Indeed. But to create jobs in Guyana, we made the argument in Parliament that instead of sending paddy to Venezuela, send the rice. They're gone now, and not only the rice they're sending paddy. The paddy goes to Venezuela. Venezuela has some very big rice mills, and it's creating jobs for Venezuelans. Why do we have to be raw material producers only? You ensure that that paddy at some rice mill is made into rice. You're going to get employment for a couple of hundred people. You're going to make the rice millers a little more profitable because they got more rice to convert from the paddies. But no, they go and they give the Venezuelans. And so that's a wrong policy. We have brought it to their attention. But they said no. We're going to do exactly that. There are so many wrong policies of this government and wrong priorities, brothers and sisters. I do not need to mention them all to you. But wrong priorities in relation to putting all their eggs in one basket in the sugar industry by putting up a $200 million US factory at Skeldon. Now I know Skeldon people will be proud. Yes, indeed, we have that. But when you look at the design, when you look at the project as a whole, we today see that the thing has fundamental flaws. Design flaws that are making it not producing the amount of sugar has to produce to make it what you call economical. You could have taken that sum of money and you could have done 2 or 3 other sugar factories rehabilitation processes that could have made them almost 100% maximum. But no, the government decided they're going to put all their eggs in one basket. And when they did that, they did not ensure that the lands from cane farmers, private cane farmers, were done in time so as to feed that factory. Here again, you have priorities wrong and policies wrong. And when the farmers ask them to guarantee some loans so that they can go and dig their drains and irrigate their lands and level their lands so they can produce the cane for the Skeldon factory, they're not getting that. Because it's an elections year, I understand Robert Prasad came and he indicated, yes, we are going to ensure that the cane farmers now going to get some loans. I am not certain that that will happen. That's another political elections year gimmick. Just like the gimmick it is doing within the Amerindians areas. Solar panel, laptop, tractors, drag lines, they're giving the Amerindian areas. All because they know that they can't win an elections on East Indian votes anymore. East Indians have left this land. They are now constitutive of only of about 40% of the population. So they have to run somewhere. Where do they go? They go to the Amerindian areas and they are now literally paying them off with all these solar panels, all these tractors. But we understand, brothers and sisters, again, it's a lot of substandard pieces of equipment they're giving them. And our Amerindian brothers only too recently have come forward to us to indicate to us that this is but a piece of nonsense. They did not train some of these Amerindian brothers to be mechanics, so the first time the tractor breaks down, they can repair it. 4 or 5 of the tractors given only a month ago have now collapsed because they got a ship from Georgetown, mechanics into the interior to repair those tractors. Minor fault. Now if you're going to do that kind of a priority policy, you have to create the personnel and train them so that you can ensure that when whatever goes in there, they can manage it, they can take care of it, they can repair it. So it can come waste. It becomes white elephants. All of that. But the corruption, as I mentioned, is also inherent in that kind of a policy, in that kind of a program. Brothers and sisters, I want to tell you that the Alliance for Change wants to be given a chance. Very many of them will come and say that Alliance for Change is no good. Ramjattan and Raphael Trotman fighting and they're broken up. That's not true. You do not believe what they write in the Chronicle. When you want to believe what the Chronicle writes, you've got to turn them upside down and read in between the lines and from left to right. Then you probably will get the truth. When you're listening to NCN and especially Zulfikar and Robert Prasad and all of them, President's Diary, Gina News, this and whatever, they want to make and belittle this little movement that is getting too large for them. And don't ever let them feel or push in your head so that you can feel that we can't run a government. We have top-notch people, far superior to anything that they got right now, that can run this country and run it far better for the workers of this land. We have the Nigel Hughes, the Stephen Frasers. We have the Dominic Gaskin, the Sesnarain Singhs, the Taran Khemrj, who's a professor of economics. He's coming back here for the campaign. We have Raphael and Sheila. We got those solid youngsters like Sean. And we got hundreds more. You want to tell me that they can't run this place? But more than that, brothers and sisters, the Alliance for Change has in its action plan a policy that we do not want to run this country without your help. We want a decentralized government. We want to decentralize government to local authorities. They used to cost the PNC. 28 years they didn't have local government elections. In 1994, under Dr. Jagan, we had our first one, and since that we have had none. We want you to have that power to manage your affairs in townships like Skeldon, in townships in Linden, in townships in other areas of the country, but also the local authorities and the National Democratic Council. That is what we want. This government, however, loves centralized power. Freedom House and the office of the President must direct whether you get a gun license. That is what sometimes they do. They tell the commissioner, they tell the other people and divisional commanders, and they use the politics to control every single thing. Scholarships, people's promotions, everything they control. We want to devolve power. We want to ensure that the people have that power. And in Parliament, there was a bill, or 3 bills, which were drafted to the extent that was going to give that power to you people. And do you know what Donald Ramotar and Sam Hines and all of them said? That we got to delay. We want you to have a greater voice with a Freedom of Information bill that Mr. Raphael Trotman drafted. He asked experts in India. He asked experts out of Jamaica and Trinidad. And they helped him in drafting that bill, so that you can ask the relevant questions, and it is by law they are bound to answer. The bill is now lying 4 years in the Parliament. They don't want to pass it. Bharat Jagdeo last year indicated that he is going to ensure that that bill comes to Parliament last year, July. He lied. He lied like how he lied and tell us that he married Varshni. Then in December, he said he's going to pass it last year. And he did not pass it. Then he said March will not pass the Freedom of Information Bill. Well, we're right now in May, and there is no Freedom of Information Bill that he has laid in Parliament. Ours is there. Ours is top of the line. But he's not. And of course, as you know, Ramotar was there in Parliament making the promises too and not doing anything. But I want to come back to Ramotar. He got a lot of things to talk to about me. But do you know why that sugar industry has faltered? They got one common denominator from 92 right down to 2011 in the Gaisuko board. And you know who's that common denominator? It's Donald Ramotar. In 1992, when the PDP won the election, one of the first directorships he asked of Dr. Jagan was, I want to be a director on the board at Gaisuko. Sugar was doing well. Today, what Sugar is doing, it is crippling the workers. Starvation wages. You're going to work and cut cane 5 tons to make a $100 a day. Could that mind, wife and picnic? It cannot. And Donald was there from then on to now. And what they put in the Chronicle newspaper, Donald is sweet for sugar. Donald is sweet for sugar. Well, let me tell you this. That is not true. Donald will be bitter for sugar and bitter for all Guyanese. If a person like him could carry down that industry to the state it is in today, what will happen when he takes this country? You have to understand, brothers and sisters, that we need competent people. We need competent people for the institutions. We need competent people for the industries. You don't find them. Lots of them are corrupt. I did a major piece of investigation in Parliament and found Minister Irfan Ali breaching and violating the financial laws of this country. $4 billion he took out of the treasury with Mr. Ashley Singh to go and give, as he said then, for house lots. You know where the money went? It went to subsidize the incompetence of Gaisuko. And they did not, by the way, come to Parliament for approval. After taking out the money, then they came to Parliament. You know, Dr. Jagan used to come here and talk about what the PNC used to do, how they used to do exactly the same thing, take the money and then come to Parliament for approval. Irfan Ali did just that. And we investigated him, and he is now in front of the Privileges Committee for contempt of Parliament because he lied to a question that Sheila Holt and myself asked. And that happened since last year. You're now supposed to let the man go there for his trial. What is the PPP in Parliament doing? They're delaying the Privileges Committee from convening. Delays, delays, delays. And then when Parliament is dissolved for this next election, that charge will have to be dropped. Because you can only bring those charges within the 5-year period. That is what they're doing. How many of you know that? Lots of people don't know what they're doing. Because when we try to publicize our things in the radio station, they said, no, we are willing to pay monies in the radio station so that we can get the people like you hearing about these things. They don't even want to accept our monies. Could you imagine that? We want to play ourselves on the NCN television. We paid them monies the last election to play our ads. They did not play our ads. And then when we said, but you're breaching the contract that we had, you know what they do? They take the money and they give me back the money. They say, I'll take back all the money. We didn't want the money. We wanted you to know the truth. And that is what we are getting. Brothers and sisters, all that I'm saying here are the truth. This government has transformed itself from one that does not believe in the principle that it is with work we must create wealth. Work is what must be the source of wealth. But you go today, you see the president putting up a $600 million house and he even got no permission from the NDC, the Central Housing and Planning Authority, neither the region, nothing. He breaching the law. So when a little boy, black or little coolie boy, steal your gold chain, you want him, because he break the law, you want him to go to prison. What our president is showing as an example, when he breaches the building construction laws of this country, putting up a fantastic house with one big pool, and he's saying that we must live in accordance with the law. Brothers and sisters, we also feel the pressure every day. You especially, because your salaries are smaller, because of the high taxation. Value-added tax, when they designed that method of tax, was supposed to be 10%. All the accountants that had designed that tax, it was supposed to be 10%. What the government did after it won the elections in 2006, it then created a value-added tax that was 16%. 16. That extra 6% is what brings in a lot of money for him to go on his bariat outside to Qatar and Kuwait and all them countries. And he go with one big bariat too. That is what we have. Billions of dollars are collected from that value-added tax because the rates are so high, and indeed it is affecting your pockets. A 16% value-added tax. It makes your disposable income less because you can only buy with less when that tax is so high. The Alliance for Change is also saying that the personal tax rates is 33 1/3%. So you make $100 profit, you're gonna give the government 33 1/3. Personal tax is one of the highest in the Caribbean. Corporate taxes, top to 5% and top to percent. We in the Alliance for Change, brothers and sisters, see those taxes as being so harsh to our entrepreneurs. They would not want to come and invest here. They will rather take their monies and send it overseas like they do with their children. They see a better future out there for them. We have to bring all of that to an end. We got too much resources, as Carrington mentioned, and Ramaya mentioned, Dr. Ramaya. We must ensure that we drop the rates of taxes to an extent that businessmen will feel more confident to want to invest. That is what we have to do. Because if you are going to take away whenever they make the profit, personal taxes, corporate taxes, value-added taxes, and in certain industries they have special levies that they extract more money from you, what are you left with? And when our entrepreneurs don't have the confidence to invest, you're not going to have jobs. Jobs will not be created. And when the taxes are that high, all the businessmen will want to cook the books. Mr. Khurshid Sattar has indicated that. They cook the books. They don't give the real figures because they want to make a buck. Of course, we got some rotten businessmen, no matter what, they're going to cook the books. But the larger numbers are telling us, and I was recently at a businessman's lunch at the Ghana Manufacturers Association, and all of them are telling me, when I made the commitment to them that we are going to drop those taxes to those figures of 20 and 25%, they said that is exactly what we want, Mr. Ramjattan. You drop the taxes, you're going to get investments. Factories going to go up, agro-processing, agriculture, all of that. And we're going to get the jobs so that a youngster who comes out with 10 subjects, 13 subjects and a graduate and a degree, they're going to find jobs here in Guyana. We are saying also that we're going to cut that presidential power in the Constitution. The president got too much power. The same People's Progressive Party, when they were in opposition, they were telling us that Barnum put too much power for the presidency. Today, Jagdeo got it, and Jagdeo like it. And Donald feels that he will get it, and he like it. But let me tell you, once the Alliance for Change is in government, it will repeal all those powers and ensure that it becomes, the presidency becomes equal to every other citizen of the land. So you do wrong, you can be charged by the DPP. That's what we want. You can be investigated by the police. We want to see what is called a uniformity of citizenship. Not some higher up there and others lower there. No, there must be equality of citizenship in this land. And that is what the Alliance for Change talks about. We also want to tell you that it is important that we educate our young people so that they can take up the jobs too, when the jobs do come. But lots of monies are not being spent at our university. No, we want to see more vocational schools. We want to see more technical programs. All our masons, all our carpenters, highly skilled, leave this country and go overseas. Our technical institutes are underfunded. They are understaffed. we want to put more money there. That's what the Alliance for Change has feel. And even more than that, I want to inform you that this thing called rule of law, the rule of law will be enhanced under a government of the Alliance for Change. We have to get the full complement of judges and magistrates, and we have to urge them on to ensure that they make their rulings quickly, not adjourning cases and all of that. I also want to know this as an important, very important part of the Alliance for Change message. With all of that we can talk about, we have to solve the harmony and the reconciliation of the races in this country. Because we can have all the jobs, we can have a better system in institutions, but we have to live and work together, brothers and sisters.
People are starting to lose.
We have to live and work together and play together. Because when we do, we will become successful.
People are dropping one.
Remember when we won the Stanford $1 million match against Trinidad? Travis Dowling made 84. And it was Marcin David Ryan came at the bottom end and hit that 6 and win the match for us. When we as the races in this country work together and play together, we become $1 million earners. And to that extent, we have to play the game all across. In unity, in solidarity, in fraternity. And we must not watch our Afro-Guyanese brothers or our Afro-Guyanese brothers watch our Indo-Guyanese brothers and see enemies or drive up and build up fear. Absolutely rubbish. But that is what the PPP and even the PNC will come. One will come and say, you want to put them back in there? That is what I'm going to ask. And the other might very well come and say, come back home. Y'all leave and have gone and join AFC, come back home. That kind of philosophy is not going to ensure our liberation, brothers and sisters. We have to cut this thing out. Cut it out completely from our minds and judge those who we vote for on their honesty, their integrity, their policy, their programs. In this modern era, what happened in America? It was rational thinking white people that put a Barack Obama there. They did not think race and say we don't want Hillary Clinton or we don't want the other fellow that was from the Republican Party. They saw in Obama, though a black man, that he is good and he is kind and he did his community work, and they voted for him. We have to do exactly that in Guyana. Judge who you have as your candidate. Judge what your candidate's policies are. Are they going to cut corruption? Are they going to cut crime? The crime rate, as I said, is so high. Every day a businessman getting killed or robbed. And when you beg the British, as we did, bring the $1.6 billion so that they could put up forensic labs, train our policemen at Scotland Yard. What Rohi said? Rohi said, give me the money. I don't want them to bring in forensic labs. I want the money. You know why they want the money? They're going to thief out all the money.
Get straight out.
That is what's going to happen. And so the British said, we're not giving you any money. We're going to give you in kind a laboratory with equipment. We're going to give you in vehicles. We're going to give you whatever. Send the policemen to Scotland Yard for training. But they don't want that. So I want you to understand, brothers and sisters, this country is going to perennially have this divide unless we start hugging and embracing all the ethnicities in this land. That is what will be the beautiful Guyana that we all want. This dear land of so much bounty and beauty. We must ensure that when people start putting madness madness in our heads to cloud our reason, we must tell them, get off. There's for that done. We want to check your record. What did you do in Gaisuko? You are not good for the country if you couldn't run Gaisuko. The country's problems are far more complicated than the sugar industry. It involves bauxite and gold, and mining, and all kinds of things. And you are a director there, you got to dump them. And I want you to understand this too, brothers and sisters. You have to give us an opportunity. We would have never known that Bishu was going to be such a fantastic bowler until we selected him to go and pitch that ball on the pitch. Isn't that so? You have to give us an opportunity. The quality of people we have, men and women, young people, that can constitute the cabinet of this land. We have them all. And so you have to ensure that you do the right thing this time. Brothers and sisters, what we do in 2011 will let us know what our fate will be in 2012. What we do today will make sure how we suffer or we get happiness in tomorrow. And you must reason. Go back and speak to your kids. Is this what we want? Every day we dream of getting a visa to go overseas. Every day we're begging some relatives and friends sponsor me. We have to bring that to an end. We want sponsorship to stay just in this beautiful country and to enjoy all the lands that we have. The Alliance for Change knows that with all the lands that we have to start giving you the people. Lands are back here at Skeldon and even going further into the intermediate savannas, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of acres. Why is it? That land belonged to the people. That land belonged to the PDP government or the PNC government. The PNC had it for 28 years too. Did they give and distribute? Today they're talking plenty that they ought to have distributed when the time passed. They today discuss this constitution. Do you know is the PNC put that constitution there? And only the other day I had to tell Mr. Corbyn, well, you're cussing the PP for only one radio station. When you had it in 1964 to 92, you ever give anybody else a radio station license? So they were also, in a sense, the cause for the crisis we have today. And we want you, brothers and sisters, to understand that. Those two parties are not good for their ethnicities that they seek to represent. Neither are they good for the country. This country can have a brand new future, one in which the Alliance for Change can ensure that it be the caring government that we promise to be for all Guyana, not any one race or class or strata. And so I seek at this moment, in view of the points that I have made, and I hope that you have listened well, brothers and sisters, that come Elections Day 2011, that you are going to be there to give the Alliance for Change your vote. We need that vote, because with it can come the happiness that we talk about. Oh yes, it's going to be a difficult task. Ramjattan is not saying that it's going to be all smooth and without dirt. No. But you've got to make the first step before you go on this long journey. And this journey is necessary. A journey in a different direction. I am asking, brothers and sisters, for your support as the presidential candidate for the Alliance for Change. And I'm pleading with you that you make the right turn. You make the right turn this time. A turn that will depend on your rationality and not your racial background. We can do it. We can do it. And we will do it come 2011. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters.